Hi, happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to our IG Live. Super excited to have our guest Winnie. She'll be joining us in a second. We're just waiting for her to tune in, all the way from Kenya. Hi, everyone. Please let us know if you can hear us. Or me. It's just me for now. We'll have Winnie join in just 1 second. We're waiting for our guest. Let us know where you're joining from. And again, if you can hear me. Okay, awesome, perfect. Hi, Alicia. Hello. I know it's like so many, technical difficulties these days. They moved around the Zoom and all the settings, and I couldn't find it for a while. Perfect. Yeah, let's see. Okay, Winnie joined. Perfect. We'll start in just 1 second. Perfect. Hi, Winnie. You can request to be in the live and I'll approve you. Hi, Rahana. Hi, everyone. Okay, perfect. Okay, Winnie's joining. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Nice to see you on video. How is it going?
Very well. And yours?
I'm doing very well. We finally have some sun in New York, so very excited for the winter to be
Okay.
gone. So perfect. So we'll jump right in. I'll introduce myself and then we'll go further with the interview with you. So my name is Justina, as you guys know or might not know. I'm the founder of WERULE, where we feature female founders and amazing women from all over the world. And we created this live with Rahana, who's my business partner, just to catch up with, with these amazing women that we know over live, because that's always better than doing, a written interview on different kinds of issues and, fun things as well. So we have Winnie today, all the way from Kenya. Thank you so much. What time is it in Kenya right now?
It's 7 p.m. Yeah, 5 past.
Okay. So that's
Yeah.
not good. That's not good because sometimes we do a live and people are like, "Oh, it's like 3 a.m." and we're like, "Okay, cool." So let's do a
Yeah.
different time. Yeah. So Wendy, we're super
Yeah.
excited to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Because I can read your bio and we Googled you, but in your own words.
Yeah. So my name is Winny Chepkemoi. I think the second name is quite, a challenge to pronounce. But I come from Kenya. I was born in Kenya. I have schooled in Kenya. I come from the Rift Valley part of Kenya where we grow tea. I think the best tea in the world. I went to school. Yeah, I went to school in the countryside, and went to university in a different town, and now working in the city. Yeah, so about my, I don't know if I can, what else I can add. Yeah. So my childhood, basically, I mean, I have interacted with, of course, many multinationals, and I know how much they value family and also, what you're passionate about. So I have I mean, I grew up in a family of, three brothers. So I am a firstborn. I have three brothers. I am also the only girl. So, I mean, this is the joke that
So
people
you're
make.
the princess.
And this is the joke that people make that I am marginalized at home. So that's the reason why I'm probably passionate about women.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You're the
yeah.
minority in your family. And by the way, I think the sound is a little bit delayed. So if you hear me saying random stuff, it's like I think it's a few seconds delayed. But it's okay, it's okay.
Okay, okay.
We can keep going. So you're the princess of the family.
Sorry?
You're the princess of the family.
Yeah, yeah. Technically, yeah. So I went to school. I was done with our system here. It's 844. So for primary, you spend 8 years. For I would say high school, I don't know how you'd refer that. It's 4 years, and the college or university it's 4 years. So we call it an 844 system. Then you are ripe for the job market. So I was done with school in 2015. And back in school, I think I started being active with community work when I was in campus. And I started student entrepreneurship. I started leadership. And I was this very just active and busy student. I used to be a member of Red Cross as well. I used to volunteer on weekends with first aid, and I would travel with our school rugby team, the basketball team, the hockey team at the university level. Yeah.
So
and I also started, yeah, yeah, and of course we would accompany them as the first aiders team. So if they had injuries, we would help them and so forth. So the other aspect, we started leadership. So I tried student leadership, and that led to now starting student leadership and entrepreneurship program. Amazingly, the program is still running with our university. We had a lot of support from a donor that was working with students to cultivate the culture of entrepreneurship, climate, conservation, environmental conservation and leadership. So I started that, and with other students, we all finished school and everyone is doing what they are doing. Mm-hmm. But somehow I have been consistent. One thing, and I remember that it started I was in second year of uni, and I was passionate about female student leadership, entrepreneurship. But it's something that I learned from my parents, because I remember when I was a young girl, and we were driving home with my father, and it was raining. The Rift Valley part of Kenya rains a lot. It rains throughout the year. So, and on the roadside, a woman was holding a child, and she was being rained on. I think she was waiting for public transport or something, and it was already about 7 p.m. And so my dad pulled over and said, women are not, vulnerable, and I just heard what he was talking about. And I think that's what tuned my perspective on women issues. So that started off. I started the initiatives as a student, of course. Mm-hmm. I joined the I Choose Life. It was an organization that was working with students in terms of issues of issues of health, sexual reproductive health, and so forth. So that all started off like that until now. My passion or my interest on women's issues became my career. So it's what I do. It's what I'm paid to do. Even though I had to do a post-grad on gender studies so that I can get the technical, the technical capacity to, understand gender issues better. So I did sociology and minor in religion, apparently, and also mastered in gender studies. Yeah, and now looking into probably doing something like law and That's basically my background, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? You're like my best friend. I have this best friend in Chicago. Like, we're both originally from Poland. And I'm always like, oh, she's my best friend, the one with 20 degrees. She has all the stories. And she's always like, oh, I'm not that smart. And I'm like, no, yes, you are. What are you talking about? So I have a question for you, because, for example, when I was growing up in Poland, right, like, I come from nothing, and I didn't really understand that, when I was a little girl, that I could be a lawyer, that I could do this, that I could do that. But I remember I randomly found a book about Gabrielle Chanel, the fashion designer, and I read that book, and I'm like, wow, she was so cool. She changed the whole industry. She had her own business
Yeah.
that was born even in the 30s. And she just really inspired me. So I was like, oh, I want to do what she does. So that's how I ended up at Parsons, right? Because I didn't know any better, like what else I can do in business or with humanitarian work. But so when you were growing up as a little girl, well, like what was your dream? Like, did you, like what did you want to do? Because there's always something in
I
our
actually,
childhood that kind of starts, Yeah.
yeah, sure. Yeah. So I wanted to actually be a lawyer. And I remember in high school with my desk mate, her name was Mercy. Sadly, she passed on about 3 years ago.
I'm sorry.
But for her, at least she was able to realize her dream. We wanted to pursue, I wanted to pursue law. I had this dream of becoming a lawyer, a lady justice, you know, but things changed. And the way I remember in high school, Mercy and myself used to call each other learned friends, I mean, just teasing each other, we are learned friends, or my learned friend. She managed to get to law school. Unfortunately, she passed on before she finished. She had a health condition. So, but that did not change much because for me, I ended up doing arts course. I mean, I did sociology. It's dealing with community development, gender issues, policy making, and so forth. And for me, I enjoyed it actually. And it's something that I have no regrets actually. Yeah. But the interesting thing is that I have transitioned to the land and destructive sector, and all you do is just based on the law. It's just aligned to the law and policies, made by government. And so it's so interesting that okay, I have to until one of our partners actually thought I am a lawyer by profession, and I had to tell them no, I am not. But then they said, no, I mean, what are you doing? What are you doing in the sector then? And I say, okay, probably I need to. And he said, you need to consider going back to law school. And for me, I was like, okay, it's what I really wanted to be anyway. But
Yeah.
well, life is yeah.
Yeah. You should come. You should come to us and go to like NYU in New York City or like Harvard or something. We'll visit you with Rahana.
Yeah, sure.
We're inviting you. We'll come hang out with you. So my next question is for you is so for female entrepreneurs in Kenya, what is kind of like the landscape there? Because for example, in America, like everyone just does whatever they want, but in Poland, we're still dealing with like basic issues, and women are fighting, for their basic, rights in Poland. I don't know if you heard. But the government is being very, very, very strict on women. So we can really think about, entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship in Poland is still very much so like, oh, let me make some earrings, let me sell a handbag. It's more and more people are moving towards like, oh, let me start an app, let me do something that's that could be really big. But female entrepreneurship is still pretty small if you go outside of, Krakow or Warsaw. So how is it in Kenya for women in business?
So for Kenya, interestingly, currently the unemployment rates are just crazy, You'd say, and those who are majorly affected are, you'd say the youth and women who are about, they account for 70% of the population in Kenya. And so if you look at the population right now, we are about 45 million. Our population is around 45 million. And now imagining 70% of 45 million are unemployed. I mean, these are not, right now the trend is people are graduating from colleges and universities and they're not certain that they could get a job. You'd find someone has graduated for the last 3 years, but they've tarmacked, there are no jobs, and the issues of corruption, you have to know someone. Unless you know someone, even though I tend to disagree with that, but that's what is happening in Kenya. So that has pushed, especially the women and the young people, the youth, to entrepreneurship, to start small businesses. And I would say that women in Kenya are very aggressive. They are all running businesses, just something. And they've flooded the beauty industry, the service industry, and they're doing pretty well. And interestingly, you find someone went to school, studied microbiology, but they've resorted to start a business, and it's doing well. So the women are, if you look at the businesses that are on the lead now in Kenya, you find that it's majorly led by women and the youth. And it's also good that the government is recognizing that and putting lots of money to such initiatives to support especially the youth and women. They call it the small medium enterprises. So the thing that is also very disruptive in Kenya is that these businesses are operating online and offline. So someone has a physical shop, or they're selling from their homes, but they're just selling online. And right now, Kenyans are also starting to embrace online shopping. Initially there were trust issues. Maybe I could be conned. I could be conned.
Same in Europe. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
But now the trend has changed. I live outside the city, and if I need something, I just order online and you get someone. And of course, there is the issue of you pay on delivery, or you pay before so that something is delivered to you. But that trust, the good thing is that these businesses have also embraced, I would say, a straightforward way of doing businesses. If you purchase something online, they just deliver it. So that is now building trust with Kenyans, and they are embracing online shopping, and most businesses are also going digital. Looking at the taxes also are so high in Kenya. So you find people resorting to sell online, and it's still picking up. It has really picked up, yeah.
And that's awesome because, online businesses, you are not restricted to where you are located. So that gives you an exposure to a bigger amount of customers, and you can make more money. And you know what? I think that's awesome that some people are mentioning here that, there's a lot of women in politics, which is also very important, to female governors. Yeah, see, that's really, that's such an amazing point, because I feel like even in America, I'm based in New York City, like, I don't even know any women politicians. I recently interviewed one, Rashma, and she was fantastic. But I feel like in countries outside of America, there's so many women going to politics and leadership positions, and we just keep complaining. So I feel like that's something that's very important, to get that balance, in business and in politics, right? To achieve
sure.
To achieve the full circle. Yeah. So so you growing up, because I know you're involved in politics as well, right? What made you go into that space? Why did you think that it's important to be involved in entrepreneurship, but also, with political issues and the space?
Interestingly, I think it's just something that you'd say it's part of your DNA. I like politics, though I don't intend to run for any office, but I like commenting. I like commenting on politics. Of course, I have been involved in the ruling political parties elections board, where we were able to. Our role was to administer political party primaries, and for me, it was such an exposure to what women in politics are actually going through. But it's something that, for me, someone has mentioned that we currently have 2 governors they were 3. One passed on while in office, and may her soul rest in peace. But they are women, the first women that have set presidents to be the first female governors. We have members of parliament, we have county assembly members, and they're doing so well. And I think what has happened is in Kenya is that they've changed the mindset, the behavior change and attitude towards female political leadership. That is changing, and though it's not instant, though, but it's progressive, and that has also been attributed by, of course, our laws and policies that are pro-women. We have our political parties that are also embracing women's, giving women opportunities to run for office. But for me, it was interesting that, even though it's a lot of work. It's so and politics is very expensive in Kenya.
Oh yeah.
My goodness. But I would prefer being on the playing the facilitating role of cheering up the women and ensuring that the political parties are giving women the equal opportunity with their counterparts to run for office. Minimizing corruption in terms of being given a ticket to run for office. In Kenya, interestingly, there is a monopoly of the political parties, where in a certain region, if you run with this political party, be sure that you are going to get that seat. But then the good thing is that Kenya is also Kenyans are embracing transformational leadership of actually looking at a candidate for who they are, not the political parties that they are, aligned to. So it's a good thing.
Looking at, what they're delivering versus just like, oh, I'm just going to be loyal to this party, and then the candidate is the worst ever, Yeah, I know. Mm-hmm. That I feel like that's the mindset that you have to, like everyone around the world, I feel like I'm seeing this. That has to be changed, right? Yeah. And also like a lot, it has to do a lot with the youth as well, right? So like the new generation. What differences do you see between like the new generation and the old generation? They're kind of like specific to Kenya, or maybe they're like we can also connect to, because I feel like in every country you see something different,
So for Kenya, I would say the youth are the current generation. If I may call them the current generation, is that they critique issues. They are not they don't conform. They have to ask questions, and they're using social media to do that. And I'll give you an example where I most probably you read about it, that the current issue of corruption in Kenya, and the IMF giving Kenya loans. And when I think Kenyan government announced that the IMF has approved this loan for COVID measures and so forth, and the Kenyans went on social media and just I think for a whole week it was a conversation that was, and they took it to IMF. Yeah, they asked that, they posed the questions of accountability. Why do you keep giving our government monies that have not been accounted? They've not shown that they have proper accounting mechanisms. There's no transparency and so forth. So, and that, we are not sure that the monies you loan our government is put into good use. And for me, I found that to be, it's not something that that has happened before. And I think it's the issue of youth and the digital era. Using the social media as a powerful tool. Well, they may not be the generation that goes to the streets like our parents and the ancestors. They used to go to the streets and, protest against the government and ask questions in the streets or on the streets. But you find that the youth are asking questions on social media. Pointing out leaders that are corrupt and asking those questions until I feel like the government has bowed to that pressure and actually, showing now mechanisms of how we're going to, if IMF is giving us this money, this is the plan, and so forth. So for me, I find that the current generation is revolutionary. It's something that needs, that are calling for leaders who are accountable, who are answerable, leaders who actually have the needs of the people at heart. Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with that because I feel like I see that all over the world. Like my brother right now is 19. We have like a 10 years apart between us, and I even see him like he will like whatever you tell him, like a politician tells him or anyone on TV, he's going to be like, no, I don't buy that. I need my own voice. So I think it's awesome, and then, people can speak up with social media versus like being silenced and like shooshed away. So I think like things are changing for the good. So I have a kind of a surprise question for you from myself, like, to change it up a little bit before we finish. But like, what is like something like the most inspirational thing that you heard? Like, what's like the best advice you received, just for life, for career, for business?
I think the best advice for me was that one, you can be anything that that you want to be, and people come on your path for a reason, and so what you do, you pay attention to the people that you come across, treat them well, do not be dismissive, be very kind. You're not supposed to be, not supposed to be, but it's good to control your anger issues. For me, I think that was the best decision, because as you age and as you grow up, you find that actually those values is what helps you to maneuver around adulthood and maintaining relationships with people. I think that was the best advice for me.
Yeah. And you know what? I agree with that. And it's so interesting that you brought it up, because Rahana and I have been talking about that so much recently. And then also on top of that, like I was listening to like Oprah Super Soul Sundays. And that's like, she was talking to someone, like literally I just watched it yesterday. And she said that, like the biggest enlightenment you can have in your life is when someone comes for you, but you send them back love. So if someone is trying to take you down, you just send them good energy and you move on. And I kind of feel like I've been trying to do that, because like a few months ago, like someone was trying to really cross me, and my friend was like, no, you should go after them and revenge and this. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm in peace. I'm happy. I'm just sending them love. So that's awesome. You have to pay attention to people in your life.
Yeah.
So this was great. We have a few rapid fire questions for you that are just like one sentence, that are like fun, that Rahana loves to prepare. So what is the best thing that happened to you this month? Could be something small, could be something big.
The best thing that happened to me this month, this is April. Okay, that's a fire question indeed.
Recently.
Okay, so for me, it's being elevated to be part of the jury that listens to students pitching for the HALT prize. For me, that was the best thing that happened to me. The other best thing that happened to me is I continue to realize growth in my career. So actually people recognizing your skill, giving you more opportunities. For me, it's still the best thing, and it continues to be the best thing. The best thing that happened to me also, probably I would say, because it's 2 months, is that I turned 30, and I think, it's actually, I feel it's one of, it's a significant achievement.
Same, we're the same year. I'm also 91, so I'm coming in September. The 30 club. So the next question is, what is your favorite compliment that you ever received? Like, what do people know you for?
Okay, people know me for that I am, of course, I am very passionate and also innovative. I see an opportunity and I just turn it around. The other thing that I didn't know is, you just treat people unknowingly, but people see a trait in that, I am kind. I am a good-hearted person, and I think for me, it's I do it unknowingly, but I think it's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's awesome too, because for me, I feel like with business, I'm stern and I get things done. But I think it's important to be a good person. Like, I don't think you have to be like mean or anything to achieve success. So I think that's really
Yeah.
cool. I feel like that's like an older way of thinking, you know? I think so. I
Yeah.
think you can just kill them with kindness, like we say it here. All right, my last question is the funnest one. What's your favorite flower and why?
Okay, that's interesting. I love roses. I love roses because it just gives you life. I mean, you look at them and especially the fresh roses. And for me, I think it just gives you life and yeah, and pleasure. And sometimes you just stare at them and you. I mean, for me, it adds pleasure to my life, and that life, like I have something else. Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to get you a beautiful rose garden. Noted. Let me take notes. Noted. So thank
Yeah,
you so much
yeah.
for joining us. This was so fantastic. Do you have any kind of last words of wisdom, or like how can we connect with you? How can we support you?
I mean, right now, I think that technology is breaking barriers, and it's make. I mean, look at we are in different parts of the world, but we've been able to meet up. We've connected. I think we talk often with Rahana, and have coming up trying to brainstorm ideas together. And I think the current world has, I mean, very many opportunities for us, and especially if, looking at women in business, women in entrepreneurship, I mean, the youth in entrepreneurship, they need lots of support. And this support varies. It's something that I've realized that it's not just about the startup capital. It's also about, is there a platform I can learn on how to manage my business? Because interestingly, if say for the people who studied finance and accounting and procurement in school, you have some of the things are not taught in our school systems or in our curriculum. So you find that people need platforms to learn in exchange. If I had a friend who was asking me that, I think she felt that I could be more exposed. I think it's a good thing. So, and she was asking me that, I'm running this wig business in Kenya, in Nairobi, and I feel this is where I get my wigs, but I think there are opportunities out there, if I can connect with someone probably in Europe, in the US, or in India or China who's working on the same thing, and we start building each other. And I thought, it's something I also shared with Rahana, that that's something fantastic, because this is a young person, but the way they think about their business or what they want for their business is so different from, the days, we would say 5 years ago and so forth. So there's need for more learning and exchange platforms. COVID has halted so many opportunities, but I think, we'll just cope and this will pass by. The other thing is the issue of just learning. There are also people who are doing cross-border trade right now, entrepreneurship. You are shipping your things from a neighboring country, from China, or I was also looking at, there's a time we were discussing about the AGOA issue with Kenya and the US. And everyone is saying there are opportunities for young people, for small, medium enterprises, especially for women, to connect with businesses in the US. But no one there are no opportunities to be taught on what are these processes. If I have to ship something from the US, how do I do that? Where do I start? What are the options and so forth?
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think basically, I mean, briefly, that's those are the opportunities that need support. And I think if we continue, it's good that we are all connecting so that we identify the areas of, we can, partner and build synergies and probably, raise partnerships and resources to establish those platforms. I think, we are headed in the right direction.
Yeah. And I think that's awesome. And what you said, like look across borders. Like, if you're a single mom and you have a fashion company, like reach out to a neighboring company or a company in Europe or in China or whatever, right? Like I'm sure they're dealing with the same issues. I'm sure they're solving the same problems. Because sometimes people in your own community, oh, I think we might have lost Winnie a little bit. But yeah, people, if you're in the same community, then you're competing for the same opportunities.
Yeah.
But if you reach out to someone that's a little further away, they can kind of advise you and be your mentor. So that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. This was fantastic. If you are just
Thank you.
late, I'm going to post it on my IG Live so you can come rewatch it. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Winnie. Have a good evening.
Thank you and stay safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.